I am going to show you proof right now that we are channeling at all times, whether or not we realize it. That what we are creating is spirit streaming through us. So this is our art, right? Art is a medium. This canvas and this paint is a medium. Your body is a medium. You can clearly see right here that this is Jesus, and this is up against a cloud of something saying, I am your protector. Like you would have to go through me, type of thing. And there's a reason why I'm sharing this around Christmas right now, because when this went through the artwork and when this was channeled into this painting, has a lot to do with what I was going through at the time. And this has to do with a lot of warfare, of course. You can see these red cloaked beings right here. This is a lot of what I was experiencing at the time. And these were both done in the same day. I did not paint these on with a paintbrush. This, if you don't know what pour painting is, it is when you pour a lot of different colors of paint into a cup, and then you pour the cup onto the canvas, and then you move the canvas around. I was just getting called back into art, and this was my first try and my first attempt at it. And you can see I didn't use what you would call a medium in this paint. I didn't know, and it's all cracked, right? Why this is important to understand is because Christmas is supposed to celebrate Jesus the Son. But what Christmas is actually celebrating are these guys right here. This is Saturn. And this is when I was under heavy attack and narcissistic abuse, and understanding exactly the roots of what this is. This is very much like Mufasa and Scar, the two brothers that are both fighting to become king. But we all know that there's only one king. This was years ago now, but a few years later, when I was learning how to walk people through their end of life process. And in this process, and for one person, I had to go to their church of faith for something. And when I got into the church, there's a reason why I was being shown this. And specifically during this time period of the purification. And this has to do with the purification of the channels as well. And of course, the purification of the heart. In this church, and I'm sure that this is in other churches as well, maybe, but there is artwork of Jesus who is standing on top of the cross of Saturn with the chains broken. This is when he has gone through the purification process and is now, and then I think there was two, because the other one also showed the baptized with the cross of the sun, not the cross of Saturn, the cross of the sun with his halo, right? This is the purification. And how this applies, of course, to Christmas, besides the obvious, is we are in a time right now that we have gone through a major and a mass purification. And now that we have seen the truth behind Christmas, that cross of Saturn that Jesus is standing on represents the material world. And we are moving out of that collectively as a society, where we are living more for the sun, more for the spirit and the soul. These are our goals. This is what we are investing in now. We are no longer putting our values and our worth and our business and our money or anything into material alone, which is, of course, what Christmas began to celebrate. I do not know exactly when my 2-month fast was, if it was before or after this painting, but this is around the time, that same period of my life where I went through a massive purification. I had fasted before, but not to the extent where I had no food for 2 months. And this is when I was beginning my process in truly understanding the depth of purification and what that means and the channels. And around that time, just to share anyone else who is being called to purify right now as well, the channels, the nadis that are your solar plexus that combine there are connected to your facial nerves. And these are the 12 tribes that are in the head. And this is also when I was being called on my walk to read more into the Bible, and because I had already taken so much anatomy and physiology and chemistry and biology, when I was shown these things about the Bible, I understood that I knew what I was being shown. We are revealed to us in our level of understanding, or even more so in our ways of understanding. And it's the same with astrology. How I was being shown this, it's not that 80% at least of what I understand about astrology is not because I read about it. It is channeled, it is felt, and it is a spirit that is working through people. So the stars and the planets, yes, are in the Bible, and the anatomy of it. It's not so much that channeling and the fact that we're all mediums to an extent is terrifying. It is that those who deny it, those who fear it and do not know what is working through us. We know if we're dealing with a narcissist, for example, that spirit of Saturn is working through them. What are called the hosts of heaven are working through us. That's spirit. That is spirit. The sun is spirit, and we live in a solar system, not a Saturn system. And keep in mind that the sun is also a star. Now, my understanding and how the ways that I have been shown this, the more open your channels are, the more that's able to work through you. Of course, there are a lot of blockages, and even things like processed food, etc. I haven't painted my nails or gotten them done in years. Things like that, and our hair is an extension to our nervous system. So I did go to school. I was going to do that, and then I'm an esthetician. So in school we learned about all of the cranial nerves, and of course I was re-shown a lot of how this works with the connection in the body, and I was also shown times that different planets, like there would be times like God would send 4 people in my life that I didn't even know or haven't talked to in maybe 4 years or something. I remember one time there were 4 people who randomly came to me that had pancreatitis within a week. And God was showing me that was during this particular transit. And the planets do play a part in our organs and systems and in our life. And we cannot avoid Saturn. Saturn has a bit of dominion over the dirt and the land. Like, think of the ants and the ground and underground. Obviously, the sun is king of all, but they both teach us about the roots and the authority and planting them. So Saturn does play a big role in the material world. It is not that we are not going to still be investing in the material world. It is about being conscious in what people are connected to and what is working through them and how purified their channels are, and if they're aware of it. But people, nobody needs to be aware exactly of which spirit is working through or what they're connected to, but that if somebody is in their purpose, their God-given purpose, even if it's something that you might not agree with or doesn't look appealing, then that is what they're meant to do. And if we're purchasing products from people that are in their God-given purpose, it's going to have the God-given spirit in it of what it is we are looking to get from that product or from that service, as opposed to maybe somebody who is doing it for greed or just for money gains. So let's say that cilantro. Some people hate cilantro. It tastes like soap. It doesn't agree with them. And let's say that you had many life lessons throughout your life. For some reason, cilantro has been a big part of your life, and things have came up over the years that you've learned a lot about cilantro and what to do with it and how to work with it and what it means. And it's been very complimenting to your life. So you are led to create a cilantro business. And some people are not going to like your business because they hate cilantro and it tastes like soap. Or maybe they don't hate it. It just simply, they don't agree with it because it doesn't agree with their spirit. Because every plant and herb also has a spirit. Or let's say that, let's say that somebody gets word and that cilantro is going to be popular, or they find out that it's making a lot of money, and now they go start a cilantro business because they have the funds to back it up, or they find it and they're simply doing it out of greed, or because they saw somebody was successful about it online, but they don't have that connection to cilantro. Then the people who buy from that person, just like it's buying from a machine from somebody who doesn't have that spirit behind it, and the machine doesn't have a heart, or the person who called for it to be made, they don't carry that within them. The spirit of cilantro is not going to work through that person, because they're doing it simply to make money, not because it is their God-given purpose. And now that, just like in that picture, we are getting rid of the material world, breaking free of those chains of relying on the material world and money without any substance behind it, without any truth behind it. We know that in your true God-given purpose, that what it is that we are creating is going to carry the spirit of truth in it, and it's going to benefit people. It's not only going to benefit us while it hurts others, or it's not going to be like creating clothes that have toxic chemicals in it, just or having, people do it for horribly paid labor, while it builds those that are really material based. This is about creating with substance, with things that are going to benefit others. To clear the channels, many have been called to fasting, to purifying. There are many ways we do that with breath work. That is a very powerful way to break free if we are doing it when we are called to, in the time that we are called to. And all of this is spirit led. Just like I know my 2-month fast, I would never have been able to do that without being led into it. I wasn't even planning on it. I didn't even know it was going to be that long. And because I was sustained, fasting teaches us not to rely on our physical needs alone. And that was a big part of my process in clearing the channels and breaking free of, and this is a lot to do with the crown oil, also the panther oil, but has a lot to do with the crown oil in protecting these areas and the dream and access when these are balanced within. So this is like the 72 nadis. Is it 72? When they come together, it equals the 144,000, and that is the completeness and wholeness of the full activation right here. And there's a lot more that we can do, that we have access to when our heart is open, that we are able to receive more. And I do want to throw that in there. When it did come to the purification process, one thing that I really wish I knew was, because I had cleared so much, and in that process of fasting, really wish that I knew I was more susceptible to attacks. Okay, and that darkness seeks that. I didn't know anything about that. I wasn't religious before, and I'm still not now. So I didn't understand that, and I wasn't fully tuned into being guided by a spirit at that time and understanding protecting myself, which is why I have learned so much about that and through this.